Okay, so there we have it. We're starting the recording now, and if you want to get started, Annie, when you're ready.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much, Margaret. Welcome, everyone. Hopefully it's a beautiful sunny day where you are today. So I'm located in Ottawa today, and it is sunny here. So welcome to the session. We're going to talk about joining the Give Life movement today through becoming a stem cell registrant. And we'll touch a little bit also on organ and tissue donation. So down below, so my name is Annie Barrett. I'm the Transplant Product Manager, and I work for Canadian Blood Services. The name that you see down below is Diane McAdams. She's actually one of the stem cell territory managers located in Atlantic Canada. Diane, unfortunately, she has laryngitis, so she's unable to speak today, which is why I'm taking over for her. But definitely her email is there, so diane.mcadam@blood.ca. If after this session you have any questions regarding any of the content or need further clarity on how to become a stem cell registrant, do not hesitate to reach out. Any questions before we begin?
No, I think I'm good.
Perfect. So we're going to talk a little bit about stem cell registration and what it means and who do we need as a stem cell registrant. So at any given time, there are hundreds of Canadians who are searching for an unrelated stem cell donor. The most common need for a stem cell transplant is to treat some forms of cancers or blood disorders. So leukemia, lymphoma, aplastic anemia are typically the three conditions that are most oftenly treated by stem cell transplants. That being said, there are over 80 diseases that can be treated with a stem cell transplant. So you'll see throughout this session today, we'll be sharing quite a few videos of either donors who've registered and sharing their donor experience, or we'll also meet patients. And Jennifer is one of those patients, and she was saved because of a stem cell transplant. So bear with me 1 second. We're going to load up this video so that we can watch it together. Okay.
Denise, I'm going to ask you to mute your microphone, and Annie as well, because otherwise we'll hear the feedback. Wow. We do have the power, don't we?
Yes, so Jennifer, as I mentioned, was obviously she's here today because of a stem cell transplant. Now we're going to talk a little bit about who needs a match. So Jennifer is one of, like I said, hundreds of patients who needed a stem cell transplant. Now it's important to know that fewer than 25% of patients who need a stem cell transplant are actually able to find a match within their family, which means that 3/4 of those patients have to rely on the generosity of a volunteer donor to give life. Now, you know, a lot of people think of a stem cell transplant and think of it like blood donation, where it's like a blood type. However, matching to a stem cell patient is much different, and we match patients using genetic markers. So, and these markers occur differently within each population, and it's for this reason that a person's best chance of finding a matching donor is amongst their own ancestry. Now, of those hundreds of patients looking for a match, only 50% of patients actually do find a match. We often use the expression that finding a match is like finding a needle in a haystack. So now that you know why we need stem cell donors, let's talk a little bit about who can register. So if you're between the ages of 17 and 35, you can register to be a stem cell donor. It's important to note that there's currently a greater need for males to register, as well as ethnically diverse individuals to register. So the reason for that, let me just, last year, 50% of stem cell donors chosen to donate were young men. However, only 20% of our current registry is comprised of young men. So this is the reason why we have a greater need for young males. Males are more likely to be chosen as donors because they offer better patient outcomes post-transplant. So patients who receive stem cells from male donors are less likely to have complications after their transplant. Now we're actually going to meet a stem cell donor. So this is Echo. He was located in Kingston, Ontario. And we'll hear about him. One second while I load up the video.
Do males have to give to male patients?
No, anyone, that's a great question. You don't necessarily have to give to males. So a female can give to a male or a male can give to a male. However, physicians, so doctors or transplant doctors, prefer to use males as a result of their patients seeing less complications when a male is used, male stem cells are used. Okay, it should load up. I'm going to mute myself. So that was Echo.
Annie, did you see the question in the chat?
No, I did.
Over the age of 35, are your stem cells not admissible for this program? Can you explain why?
Yes. So again, like I said, if you are already on the registry, so if you registered years ago, then you would still be on the registry until your 60th birthday. However, if you have never registered, we only accept at this point 17 to 35-year-olds. And the reason for that is that the medical community has actually defined optimal donors being between the ages of 17 and 35. So, and the reason for that goes back to the exact same reason of why we need young males, is that typically when we use stem cells from younger donors, patients have better outcomes. Typically a patient, one of their complications that are often seen from patients is graft versus host disease, which is essentially the patient's immune system attacks itself, and it forces a lot of negative reactions, which can vary. So when we look at a patient and looking at what the best possible match could be, or the best possible candidate or donor for stem cells, this is the reason why they've identified younger donors as ideal in order to reduce those post-transplant complications.
Okay, does that answer your question, Heather? So that if you've given, if your name is already on the register, you can give until you're 60, but they won't allow you now to put you on the register if you're over 35. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Super, thank you.
So the other piece that we're looking to grow is the ethnic diversity of our registry. So given that Canada has been identified as a growing mosaic of ethnic populations, and that one of the main challenges in this country is finding suitable stem cell donors for ethnically diverse patients, it's important for us to continue to grow the ethnic composition of the stem cell registry. So if you look on the right-hand side, you'll see there's currently over 380,000 registrants currently registered in Canada. However, when we look at the number of registrants that are ethnically diverse, that represents only 28%. So it's important as we continue to grow our registry that the registry is representative of the Canadian mosaic, which we are very much a multicultural mosaic. So now that we know why stem cell donors are needed and who are needed, we're going to talk a little bit about the donation process and what's involved in donating. It's important to know that not everyone who registers will be matched to a patient and asked to donate, but each registrant provides hope for those waiting. A person could, however, be a match within a few months of registering, a year later, or even 7 years later, which is typically the average amount of time that a registrant will be on the registry before potentially getting a call. So that's why it's important that registrants understand what's involved and the commitment before registering, that you are staying on this registry for a long period of time, and that at any time you may get a call to say that you are a match for a patient. So for us, that commitment is extremely important. So now we're going to meet Matt, who's another actual donor, and he'll share his brief experience about donating.
Thank you. Remember to keep the questions coming in the chat. They're really, really great questions.
So now that we've met Matt, we'll continue explaining the donation process. So when you're selected as a potential match for a patient, Canadian Blood Services will contact the registrant to inquire if they are still willing and able to proceed with the donation. At that point, you have the option of saying no, obviously, if there's different points in your life, but if you do proceed and say, yes, I want to proceed, then additional health testing will then be performed to ensure the suitability of the match. There are two methods to registrant could be asked to donate. So the first is from peripheral blood, and the second is from the bone marrow. So these life-saving stem cells are then transferred to the patient to restore their health. So if I'll explain a little bit about the peripheral blood donation, or peripheral donation is very much like a blood donation. However, it takes a little bit longer, so typically 4 to 6 hours on average. When we talk about bone marrow donation, typically that's the one that most people think about. It's the one where a needle is inserted under general anesthetic. Your needle is inserted in your iliac crest or your hip bone, and the stem cell is then aspired outside of that bone. So most of the time right now what we're seeing is that 85% of donations take place through a peripheral blood donation, and 15% of donations take place via bone marrow donation. Now, Denise, you had a question. How's a donor tracked and contacted? As members of the military community, we are very mobile, so that's a great question. So typically, when you register, we'll take your phone number, your address, as well as an email address. And one of the pieces when you register is to make sure that you keep Canadian Blood Services informed when you change your address. So typically, again, we try all forms of communication. We'll mail you a letter, we will contact you via phone or cell phone, and we will also email you to try to get a hold of you.
Thank you. I was just thinking of my son who's part of the target population. He's just beginning his military career, so he's going to move several times in the next little while. So yeah, I'm just wondering how you track registrants. But that
Do you still give a birthday card in case they've changed their addresses?
That's a great question. So what we do is that typically you will get an email every year. If we have an email for you on file, you'll get an email every year reminding you to ensure that the correct information is on file. If you do register online, your profile is tied to your blood donation profile as well, which we'll go through that in a few minutes.
Thank you. That answered my question.
So let's keep going. Actually, see, we're getting right to that point. So it's quite easy to register as a stem cell donor. So there's two ways. You can register online at blood.ca/stem cells, which we're going to go through. And you can also register at an event. So we do have events that take place across the country. But given this is in a digital form, we thought it'd be interesting to actually go through the registration process online. So we will do that now. Give me 1 second. I just want to confirm everyone can see my screen.
Yes.
Perfect. So you can see here, I just entered blood.ca/stem cells, which I copied from the link. And you can see
One
echo
more thing,
there.
Annie?
Yes.
In order for people to continue to chat, you bring your mouse right up to the middle of the screen. You'll see the place for participants and for chat. So if you want to click the chat, you can continue chatting, and I will monitor that for you.
Perfect. Thank you,
Super.
Margaret.
You're welcome.
If you take a look here, then you can scroll down, and then on your right, you'll click How do I register? Register now. And you can see here, there's the steps to register. So as I've outlined, so we're going to you review and acknowledge the information for new registrants, which I'll show you. You'll take a basic knowledge test about stem cells and stem cell donation. Once you take that knowledge test, then you're asked to set up a personal profile on blood.ca. This is when you're actually going to register to become a stem cell donor. So you'll be asked to complete a health assessment questionnaire, which asks personal information. And then you will provide your official consent to participate in the program. So you'll read and accept that right online. Now, essentially, that's the only part that's included, or I should say, that's the first part of the process. At that point, Canadian Blood Services will send you a buccal swab kit in the mail. So the kit is used to swab the inside of your mouth to collect your DNA sample. So essentially, it will send you 4, they look like Q-tips, little buccal swabs, and you'll be asked to rub for 30 seconds the top, bottom of each side of your mouth and resend us those buccal swabs back through Canada Post in the mail.
There's a question.
Yes.
If you live out of country, for military families living out will they mail them to you out of country?
Yes. Yes.
Super. Thank you.
So, and with that swab kit, obviously there's instructions. So it's, I say it's very dummy proof. It's quite easy to do. And then you put it back. We'll send you a postage page envelope, and then mail it back to you. No, mail it back to us, I should say. At that point, we'll take those swabs. We'll process them in one of our labs to get that DNA sequence. And then at that point, you become a registrant, official registrant on our registry. You'll get either an email or a letter based on your preference. And then typically within the first 3 months of you receiving or you becoming an official registrant. So this entire process from the time that you complete the form online to receiving the kit and sending back to us and us testing it takes on average 6 to 8 weeks. So now I'm going to go through, actually I want to show you so the registration. So like I said, the first part is learning more. So what is One Match all about? What are stem cells and what is a stem cell transplant? What diseases are treated with stem cell transplant? Who's eligible? What do you mean by a match? Is there a matching donor for every patient who needs a stem cell transplant? How do I join? Can I be tested specifically for my relatives? A lot of times family members of patients will have that question, or individuals who know a patient looking for a match. Can I be tested specifically? Again, the purpose around reading this information is to ensure that you are informed about what you are registering for. So once you've read all of the information, you move on to take the knowledge test. And then there are 10 questions. So I'm just going to move my window so I can see it.
We can maybe do them together if everybody wants to unmute. To unmute your microphone, just click on participants and then click on unmute. And Heather, if you wanted to use your chat, so anyone can donate stem cells, true or false. Why don't you put that in the chat if you'd like. Question number 1, anyone can donate. Heather says false. Denise? Okay. So we have a false there.
That is correct. Yay!
Because it depends on your age, right?
That's right.
Okay. People on One Match can direct their donations to a patient of their choice. True or false? False.
False.
Is that
That's right? Yep, that's correct. So when you register to donate, you register to donate to any patient in need.
Number 3, to join one match, you need to provide a sample of your stem cells for testing. True or false?
True.
Okay, they both have 2 truths, solid truths. It's a false?
It's a false. You don't provide your stem cells, actual stem cells. You provide a buccal swab, so it's only your saliva. And from your saliva, we can actually test get the DNA sequence that we need for matching purposes.
Okay, very good. That stumped me as well. Number 4, everyone who joins one match will have the opportunity to donate stem cells. True or false? Heather says true. Oh no, she says false.
That's correct. So again, it really is a needle in a haystack. If there is if you are a match, it's because you are a very close match to a patient, so the patient's DNA. So it's really it's like winning the lottery.
Number 5, donating stem cells from your bone marrow involves day surgery performed under anesthetic. Is that true or false? Denise, you could use the chat as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure we've covered that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of not sure. So is it true?
It's true. That's right. So there's 2 ways to making a stem cell donation. Through peripheral blood, which is like a blood donation, except it's a little bit longer. It takes about 4 to 6 hours. And the other way is through your bone marrow, which is the needle inserted in your hip bone, which is under general anesthetic.
But the blood one is not.
That is correct. Blood one is not.
Very cool. Okay, number 6. We're doing not too bad, guys. Canadian patients sometimes receive stem cells from people in other countries. Ooh. I would say, I don't know.
True or false? Any guesses? True. That is, yes, that's correct. So Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry is part of a worldwide registry as well. So our patients can access other registrants, so stem cell registrants or stem cell donors internationally, as well as cord blood, and vice versa. If a Canadian donor is found to be a match for an international patient, that donor can also proceed to donate to that international patient. So it is very much.
Sorry, when you said there were 380,000 on the registry, are those Canadians?
Those are Canadians. That is right.
So there's even more if you can consider worldwide.
Yes, millions.
Millions. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Donors are informed of the identity of the person who will receive their stem cells.
I would have to say false on that one.
That's true. That's correct. Yeah, that's right.
But if the donor and the person wanted to know each other, could they be connected?
Yes, after a period of time. So if both, and it depends on if the patient is obviously Canadian or international. Some registries have policies in place that's not possible, but if within Canada, yes. So after a period of time that has passed, which is 1 year, a patient could, but both parties have to be willing. So patient and donor could potentially exchange information to be able to know each other.
Cool. Okay, people are free to withdraw at any time. True.
Yes, that's correct.
And there is no need for people on one match to inform Canadian Blood Services when their contact information changes.
Yes, that is false.
Capital letters false. And the last one, donating blood is another way to help transplant patients.
True.
That's correct. So typically, patients who have leukemia or lymphoma are also in greater need of blood products. So donating blood will also help them. Great. So now we submit. We got 10 out of 10. Yay. And we continue on to the next screen, which is, this is where we would then sign in or register. If you're a blood donor, you can sign in. If you are not a blood donor, then you would register and create your profile. Any questions on the online registration? Oh, where did I? There we go.
That's really informative. Thank you. That's a good little test.
Yes. So again, so following a successful result, this is your survey. You'll be guided to register. I think we've talked about this. We're going to go meet Lucas now. I've gone through that while actually doing it, which is much better than looking at the presentation.
We will also give you the website it'll be attached to the recording as well.
Perfect. Okay. So that is Lucas. As you can see there, when you've seen in the video, is that he actually demonstrated what the swabbing process looks like. So it's quite easy to do and not painful whatsoever.
The answer is yes.
Yes. So patients are counting on the generosity of young people to become stem cell donors because no one in their family is a match. So we're looking for your support in joining the Give Life movement or by encouraging others to register. So that's also what's important. If you're not personally able to register, helping spread the word around the need for us to get more young people registered on our registry is a very important piece of the puzzle, especially when it comes from family members who are typically more credible than others. So definitely it's an important part of our process. Now Daniel has quite a unique story that we will listen to now.
So what is the youngest age you can donate?
17.
Okay.
There we go. And let's meet Daniel. For more information, if something is missing, if you'd like to know more, you can visit blood.ca, but also reach out to Diane McAdam as well if there are specific questions. Or I can answer any questions that you have right now.
Do you have any questions, Denise or Heather?
Not at this point. I'm good, Margaret.
Okay, and what age are cadets usually?
Air cadets are 12 to 19.
12 to 19. So wouldn't it be great if we could connect with the 17 to 19-year-olds with this information?
Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome.
I was thinking of Royal Military College, actually.
Oh, well, feel free to share this video. I'll send it in the after-session email with all these little videos. And I really appreciate, Annie, that the videos were under 2 minutes. It really brought it home in an easy-to-understand format.
Yes, and that's the intent when we create different videos, especially that we also share them on social media. And typically, anything that's longer than 2 minutes typically drop off quite quickly interest as a result of the length.
Yeah. Heather, do you give me the green check if you no questions? Excellent. So Heather, please, Heather and Denise, please share this. We'll send it out in the after-session email. Annie, I really appreciate having this information, and we are going to connect Diane with Lynn of PEI MFRC so that she can have actually a live presentation there as well. And if you'd like to have a live presentation, you can contact Diane McAdam, and she can connect with the province that you're in. So you can also have a live presentation at your MFRC center. Is that correct, Annie?
Yes, that's correct. Absolutely.
Super. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming out. And Annie, I really appreciate all the information. It was a phenomenal presentation.
Oh, not a problem. I'll just close off actually with sharing a story here. So this is Mackenzie. She was 16, and in 2013 she was diagnosed with cancer. During her treatment, she received 27 blood transfusions and a life-saving stem cell transplant. So thanks to the generosity of both blood donors and a stem cell donor, Mackenzie's enjoying life with her family and friends today.
Oh, that's a great success story. Fabulous. Well, thank you so much, Annie.
Thank you. Have a great day.
We'll be in touch. Bye.
Bye.